Hey everybody, it's Mel from Mel Mack Acting Studio. What do you do when the story circumstances are too close to you emotionally? Great question. I had an actor actually DM us about this. And I think a lot of times when you pick up your sides, you might connect to it right away and be like, oh gosh, I feel like this is really similar to something that happened to me. So it's going to be really easy to personalize. Uh-oh. Then you go to work on it in your audition prep and you realize that you're having a really challenging time tapping into those emotions that you need to access to really bring alive that story from your unique experience. So here's what I suggest you do. Actually, one of my actors suggested this, and I just want to give a shout out to Alex Giorgio. Thank you. She said what she does is she makes a list of people, right, or circumstances where she has a really strong, visceral, emotional reaction to either the story or to the person in general. For example, I have somebody in my life that I just love dearly. They're a very close friend of mine, and we're always kind of like poking and prodding at each other, right? So if I were to pick up a story and there was something where somebody's poking and prodding, that would be really easy for me to access. I also, on the other hand, I've had some, pretty traumatic things happen to me in my life. And there's one instance in particular where my mom passed away unexpectedly. And if I were to go pick up sides for that, that would be hard for me to access because I've done a lot of work to get past that and feel good about it and be in a good space. So it's really hard for me to emotionally go there again. As I'm saying that, I'm sorry to have tears come to my eyes. But it's all good. But my point is, those situations can be very challenging, especially if you've, put them to rest. It's hard to bring that emotional state of being back to the forefront. So I think it's a good idea. I love this idea of making a list. If I personally can't go there for my mom and I need to be able to go to that raw, deep emotional place, I'm either A, going to have to allow myself to go there and really sit in it. B, think of somebody else in my life that it's an easier access point for me that I haven't done a lot of work on to kind of put to rest. So I hope that tip is helpful for you next time you pick up sides that seem very raw and emotional to you. I mean, that is why we're actors, to allow our emotional state to be able to go there and to access that past experience for us. Sometimes it can just be really challenging. So on that, if that happens, then you can go to your list, pick out another situation that you're able to access easier than that deep, dark, emotional place. I do want to say, there are circumstances where you need to bring yourself to that point. Some people are really good at it and they can bring themselves there and they can turn it off. Some people have a hard time getting out of that emotional state. I remember being in the casting room and we had a girl come in. This was a while ago, and I was working with a friend on a film, and it was a really nice role, and we saw a lot of up and coming actresses for the role, and it was a really emotional role. And so this one girl came in and she was fantastic. The director really loved her, so we had her come to callbacks, and she came in the room. She was fantastic again, and then at the end she couldn't turn it off, and then she went into this pretty horrific story of what had happened to her, and it made everybody incredibly uncomfortable in the casting office. And the biggest worry was, is she going to be on set and not be able to turn this off? And so I think sometimes that can be a concern. So if you feel like it's an emotional place that you have to go to and you really need to live in that space for your audition, you also want to make sure that you can get out of that emotional space. That's why I'm saying, if it's, for me, if it was something deep and dark like my mom, I might not be able to turn that off right away out of the audition room. But there's other things that I could easily access because I've lived a life, right, that I can pull from to be able to support that audition and for me to feel that I can be emotionally connected to those character choices. Okay, I hope this tip helps. Go ahead and let me know what you think. Write down in the comment box. You can also be following us on our new Facebook group, and you can join our Book the Audition Room group and get a free downloadable ebook with a lot of tips for you on your self-tape. Also, go ahead and check us out on Instagram. Okay, see you next time.